Thank you so much for the update. Thank you for watching Good Morning Kenya this fine. In case you're just joining us, this is the only way to start your morning. Good Morning Kenya. My name is Samuel Njoro. Some of the political issues that have been shaping political headlines over the past 1 week, and helping us to dissect those issues, I've got Kisumu East Member of Parliament, Honorable HonShakeel Shabir, joining us live via Zoom. Asante sana mheshimiwa, welcome to the program. And we also have Hamisi Mboga, political commentator, joining us live from Mombasa, still via Zoom. Gentlemen, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Maria Kenya.
Asante. Now, I'd like to begin with you, Mheshimiwa. When you study what is happening with a formula to get money to the counties, what's your viewpoint on it?
Well, very shortly, I was on the Constitution Review Committee when we were thinking out the devolution. I think Hamisi Mboga was also there. Well, our idea of devolution was just that, to devolve funds and resources to the grassroots. Also, there was an equalization fund. There were other funds and other ways of also devolving other resources where there had been no way to bring equity and equality. This so-called formula, there is no formula as such that the Senate needs to come up with. It is just a discussion, and the CRC, the Commission for Revenue, the Commission for Revenue, their job is specifically to go through all the data and propose to the Senate, like a budget is proposed to the Senate, that this is our suggestion, this is our, and 90% of the time, like anything like this, professional commissions are set, you're meant to accept with small amendments. The Senate has taken on something that is not their responsibility and mandate, and they wanted to control that. So I'm afraid the Senate is not in the right track, and that's why we are going into this this rigmarole. Everybody wants the maximum amount of money that they can use or misuse.
All right, let me get the viewpoint of Hamisi Mboga on the same.
Thank you, Sami. I'm happy to be part of this discussion again today on the issue of revenue distribution, revenue allocation, revenue distribution. How do we decide which county gets what? I think now we are already in a number of years experimenting the formula that was there. You remember last time I said, for the time being, because of the crucial element of funding county governments so that they can do their functions, let's use the formula that has been there. If there is any extra funding or extra income, then we can use a new formula which can be discussed and people will have time. When the constitution was made, the element of saying at least counties will share this percentage, it was at least, it was not at most. So this country and all of us are able and should be able to relook every year or every 3 years, how much do we need for the county? One of the suggestions that I gave, and I hope Mheshimiwa support me, because we have been in the local government system for over 30 years, is we are underfunded. The functions are not exactly funded according to what we are supposed to do. And our suggestion was, why don't we do a thorough capacity assessment of the funding that we are pushing there, the resource collection by the counties themselves, and the amount we are giving based on the budget. What functions are they performing? How much are those functions requiring to be budgeted? Then when we're talking about the formula, we know Mombasa has these functions and the cost is this much. But because of distribution of the national cake, we are giving this. I have never seen a complete budgeted functions of county government. Some of the functions have not been devolved yet. So how can we budget it? So I think for the time being, let's use this formula that has been working, but let's rethink first, foremost, funding counties based on the functions and how much they cost to be implemented. That one we shall go very far. Because Mombasa would need so much because of XYZ. Now, if we were giving them the money, I know they have made a budget, but their budget have a ceiling. They've been told don't budget beyond this. Let them budget according to the function that they've been given. We know the extent, so we look for the money to be able to fund them. Otherwise, we shall have this noise every year.
And you know, the most interesting thing, and I would like to get the viewpoint of Mheshimiwa on this one, because he's been a mayor, and units used to make their own money and collect a lot while at it. How come, with all the infrastructure around devolution, we're still seeing counties not being able to be self-reliant and making their own money?
Yes. You know, we're going to also blow our own horns. I was the former mayor of Kisumu. In the year 2000, and it's accountable, it's there on record, Kisumu was 1/3 or less than what it is now. Less than 1/3. It was a quarter of what it is. There were county councils, etc. We were collecting, and I think Hamisi Mboga was also, he will be aware, we were collecting over 1.1 million shillings a day, averaging out at least 1.1 million to 1 million. That's 360 million shillings a year. 360 million shillings a year. 20 years after, or 18 years after, the last record that the Kisumu County gave of money they've been collecting, they're saying 700 or 800,000 shillings. 3 times the size, or 4 times the size of revenue base, and 18 years down the line. So if you look at inflation, what is happening? What is happening is this. Our local authority system, as archaic, as bad as it was, had systems of accounts, had systems of control, and those systems of control, those systems of control. My brother Justus, you need to put yourself on hello, on mute. Those systems of control, were thrown aside. So what is happening is the governors, you know, there was a time when I was the mayor, and I'll finish here. Then when the market supervisor was bringing money, and he was putting it in, standing in his office, and you have councillors lined up, and the market superintendent would give every councillor 10 or 20,000 shillings. Now, of course, they could not do that because he was the most important person. Now, when we came in, we controlled, we put certain controls at 1 million shillings I'm talking about. Now, that is pocket money for the governors. They do not account for it. That money that comes in cash is pocket money for the governors. And yesterday in Parliament, Senate came up with a proposal, which was there in any case, that in the Kenya Revenue Authority, who are the collectors of tax, should also collect tax in a uniform collection system all over Kenya. Now, what is happening is you're seeing governors coming up, deputy governors coming up, small people having houses worth 200-300 million shillings in less than 2 years. This is pocket money which they're collecting. So that there is no system, they don't want a system.
Is there too much spillage when it comes to monies allocated to the counties, Hamisi, when you assess the situation?
Yes, I have 2 points to contribute on this particular issue. One, there is a challenge in the collection of our revenue, local revenue. And also there's a challenge in terms of the delay in getting the money from the national coffer. The example of the local revenue, having worked in 5 local authorities, Mombasa, Malindi, in Nairobi, and Meru, and Nyenjes, one of the biggest challenges I had was collection of rates. Rates defaulters, the big brothers and sisters don't pay rates at all. If somebody can do a research on the rates collection, how much are the rates collected per county, the biggest challenge will be defaulters of rates. And even the government was a big defaulter in paying rates. So there is a challenge there. There's also a challenge in collecting the other monies, fees and charges. So we need to look at the system of collection of revenue. We need to smoothen the movement of the money from the national government to county government in time, so that they can be able to be put in place. So there's a challenge that we must also all are responsible. The Kenyan the Kenyan human being is very hard to pay rates, very hard to pay fees and charges. We need to change the mindset. The government also needs to change the mindset that services must be funded to be provided and then accounted for. So we have this challenge, and I think let's do first things first. Why don't we give the county the money that is already there? Let's tighten all the bonds and in terms of how much they are collecting, oversight and all this, and then we prepare proper budgeting for functions performed by counties and give them that money.
All right, a fair point.
Bottom line, yes.
Fair point you make right there, and also an argument has been floated that issues to do with division of revenue are essentially money issues, and thus, being a money issue, it originates a money bill, which essentially should come from the National Assembly as per the law. I don't know what you have to say about this, Shakeel.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was trying to be polite to the Senate. This was not their job. As a matter of fact, what they do is they've got nothing to do and they go and do our job. And then they come back to us. But you know, we are leaders. So we say, okay, if you have done it, why not? Well, it's just better two heads than one. My brother Kizito is going to also say his bit because I know he's been involved. The first thing I want to say, even Hamisi Mboga has not said it, is that the local authority, Kisumu and others, we ran on local income. All we got from the central government was LATIF, the local authority transfer fund. That only came on a certain amount, and for Kisumu, I think it was about 25 to 28 million shillings. But we ran this local authorities. The question really is, the transition authority that was put aside to transit between local authority systems and the government systems did not take place. The governors came in and threw out of the window all controls and all mechanisms. I insist, and as I said, Hamisi Mboga is talking about rates and etc. Yes, rates are the major part. However, Mama Mboga, what to a border, they are being taxed out of their brains. And I think that before, one of the criteria, if I was taking criteria of revenue allocation, I would not give 2% to your local revenue collection. I would make it 20% or 30%. How good are you at collecting local revenue? If your local revenue is a such and such, that should be a 20% at least weight on what you will be getting out of the national cake. Because you know what we are doing is this revenue system is based on the worst situation. So you do not account for your money collected, you do not even have the absorption, you do not do this, you do that, yet you expect money to come in.
All right, fair point.
That's my
fair point made there, Mheshimiwa. You know, these are issues that have been discussed over and over and over again. I remember the Mutunga-led Supreme Court in November 2013 gave an advisory on this very matter, that this, when it comes to division of revenue, it should be a question of both houses agreeing on the way forward. Now, this morning, we'll be having the Cabinet Secretary Treasury, that is Ukur Yatani, meet with the leadership of both houses, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, to discuss a way through which at least half of the money that was allocated to counties last year during the last financial year is actually disbursed, because counties are grinding to a halt. There's no money to get services delivered to people. There's no money to pay people. So it is a matter of urgency that we're able to get at least 50% of that money to the counties. Last year's share was 316 billion. It is the same figure this year. However, courtesy of a meeting that happened at State House yesterday. Uhuru Kenyatta, that is the president, decided to add 50 billion more to the share that will be distributed and divided amongst all the counties. But now the bigger question is, will the Senate agree to this particular formula? I mean, to this particular proposal? Will they unlock the stalemate that has, of course, sort of paralyzed operations within the county governments? Now, also joining us by way of Zoom is Shinyalu Member of Parliament, Justus Kizito. Mheshimiwa, good morning and welcome to the program.
Are you getting me?
Yes, we can get you loud and clear. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana, and maybe to get your viewpoint on the current stalemate around division of revenue.
The major issue there is people coming there with their self-interest. And I can be very clear to tell you that we have competent commission that is called CRA, Commission for Revenue Allocation. And for me, would rather go by the commission, what the commission put in place. And then after that, we can look for other money through other means like what we call equalization fund to take care of the historical injustices that happened earlier on. But for me, I think Senate may not get any other formula. If they don't go by the formula that's there, that was put there by independent commission. Because you see, like if we leave for every senator to come and say what they want, I think we'll have a myriad and so many formulas that may not be able, because once you bring this, I'll say I want that, and my delegation from Kakamega County would say this. So what I tend to think is that actually people should put Kenya first and leave politics out of this and just go ahead and put what we want to have. Those counties that may not have benefited, then we find a way of compensating or catering for the deficit.
Right, fair point. And I'd like to move to you, Hamisi. In all honesty, what is the problem with the current formula? What is the issue?
One of the issues that has been raised by some people is the ratio for population, because this has been an ongoing problem. But then the counter argument is population is not the only issue. If you want to develop this country, you must consider all aspects of our country: population, infrastructure, poverty reduction level, poverty index, and all the others. But there's one element that is being forgotten, and I think me and Mheshimiwa Shabir, we were in the urban local authorities. Urbanization is a cost. Urbanization, to run a local authority as a municipality or as a city, is a cost. These are the things that must be considered when you're implementing. Because the moment you create urbanization, a good urban center, the income goes up very fast. We are living in this country. We love Nairobi because there is a lot of income. We love Mombasa and Kisumu because of its urbanization. So one aspect which must be considered as the leaders sit and move is, apart from infrastructure in the country, apart from poverty reduction, urbanization should be given even some higher rates so that we can be able to create more jobs and more facilities for ourselves. So the challenge that we have is the distribution according to the population as considered, but also distribution according to land area, infrastructure. So this cannot be done on the spot. Why don't we give the amount of money that was given and approved by Parliament last time, the way using that formula, and then we have a whole year or 6 months to be able to think about these other factors. I think this should be, I think the offer by the president yesterday and also members of Parliament, members of Senate, they can agree on this one and then we can move on. Otherwise, we'll be held up here. Services are big. Some of the local authorities already have not paid their staff, or some of the counties have not paid their staff. And this is a challenge on the ground again. It's increasing poverty, it's increasing infrastructure issues. So my suggestion is, let's use the current formula that is there. Let's distribute the money, and then any extra can be considered according to the new formula.
And you know, is it sincere even for parliamentarians to argue that last year they said that they're waiting for the 2019 census report so that it informs a formula, and now they're backtracking on that, saying that there could be some issues with the 2019 report and they prefer to use the 2009 one that they had rejected last year. What's happening, Honorable Shabir, in as far as that is concerned?
You know, you're calling a spade and a half a dozen. The first thing that you must understand, that now, you see, even if whatever system you use, under the government system all over the world, you will not run out of money when decisions are not made. Even when the budget is being discussed, the receiving authority has up to 50% they can draw down on immediately, whether there is a formula or not. Now, these governors are now saying we are closing down our operations. Are they saying to us that they have not drawn that 50%? Why are they not drawing that 50%? Then the issue of the 2019 census. You see, that is the ideal situation. But we have said there is a commission for revenue. The Commission for Revenue Authority. Now they can look at the 2019 data, which is even before it is even disclosed officially, and come up with their suggestion. The issue, and I'm very blunt about this, the authority and the mandate of the Senate is only to debate the document that have been presented to them, not come up with new formulae. Yes, that is a local, that's a system that they want to use. All you would have said is, listen, we don't agree with this, we don't agree with this, I think we should do this. Meanwhile, the 50% goes through. Yes, and I'm very insistent. And now it become the parliamentarians, the senators, and the National Assembly. We are all put together in this issue. This must be sorted out. And while it's not sorted, and I agree with what the president has said, go and sort it out. I mean, 10 times, it's a joke. The reason they're not sorting it out, and I'm going to prepare to put this on, is that they're getting income. There are these guys, the senators, are minting. They're minting. I've seen them now at the banks depositing big money. They're minting. And even a couple of the senators who are crying right now, they're crying not because of this. They're crying because they went one way and now they went the other way, and they cannot account for they're not being, they were asked to do this and they were given something, they were asked to do that, they were given something. They've not done that. And I'm saying that the Senate has let us down as a house. And they call themselves the upper house. I'm afraid they are not.
My voice?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. I can't agree anymore with Mheshimiwa Shabir.
Yeah.
And I want to think that the senators are self-conceited. I think they are pursuing their own interests. They are not pursuing the interests of this nation. And I also wanted to agree that actually, alongside the population, you must also put into account other perimeters. But for me, I want to agree with Mheshimiwa Shabir, and I want to say that we need to really investigate the senators. And you see a situation whereby you as a county, you are benefiting. I want to put, for example, Kakamega County. Kakamega County is benefiting almost $1 billion. And the senator who has been elected by Kakamega County comes in the parliament and says, I cannot accept that formula because Turkana has not gotten any money. I can't accept that formula because Vihiga, my neighbor, has not gotten enough money. You see, that one leaves a lot to be desired because Senate is not a national house. Senate is county-based. And actually, members of Senate are supposed to deal with matter about matter about the delegation from each and every county. They are supposed to deal with the county itself, county issues to bring to the Senate. You are a delegation coming to the Senate to represent the counties. But then you see, you want to talk about another county. You see, to me, I think you would accept what you're given first. If you are me, I accept what I was given first. Then we say, what about this other? Let's find another legislation to see how these other counties can be catered for, because we want everybody to be comfortable. But again, to tell Hamisi, the issue here is about population. When you have 20 children, another one has 5 children, and you have plates of food, where do you take the food? You must give the child with more children food, get more plates. The one with the lower, smaller numbers, like two children, will get 2 plates. But then there are other perimeters. If there are other issues, then you come back and say, now I've given this. What do we do about this other one? So maybe want more. Then you must find a way of dealing with that one. So to us, to me, and I want to agree with Shabir by saying, Senate has no mandate to come up with a revenue sharing formula. They are supposed to either adopt a formula from the CRA or do amendments on that particular formula. But going to sit and cheating Kenyans, and they meet 10 times and they have not passed that formula, then I think the Senate
wanapata.
So I don't think they're fair. I don't think they're very fair to the country. And for that one who's talking about, what I wanted to do for Shabir a bit is the issue, the matter of saying that 50% can be allocated. That's right. Yes, it's there in the law. But then Shabir, look at this. Me, I'm governor of Kakamega County. You want to give me 50%? I want to plan my county holistically. I wouldn't want you to give me money in piecemeal, and then I'm not sure of what I'm going to get next, so that I can have my county planned for properly. So this issue of saying, accept 50%, what is the problem? Give them the whole formula. Let us get formula from CRA or whichever formula that is there, and let us go by that, and then we look for amendments. I'm happy with about what Shabir says. The Senate has not any mandate to vote for any monies anyway. The money will have the money bills will always have to come to the National Assembly, and we're just waiting for them. So what we're saying that we want them also to know we are there and we're watching, and we are not happy even as a house, because we want.
The bill, we discussed the bill yesterday.
Yeah.
It's in the house now.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, but no, I'm sorry, I'm here in some other retreat, so no, it's not in the house.
Honorable Shabir, you can continue. You had the meeting yesterday. You discussed the bill. What was the conclusion?
No, what happens, you see, it came as the second reading.
Mm-hmm.
So the motion was, it was presented by my chair of Finance Committee, Honorable Gladys Wanga. She presented it to the House. It came from the Senate. We presented it to the House, and we discussed it in Parliament yesterday. The comments came from members, and the members said more or less the same thing that I'm saying today. I'm saying right now, I'm paraphrasing some of the general discussions that took place. It then goes back to the Finance Committee, on which my brother Justus and myself both sit, and we then finalize it, fine-tune it, and send it back to the House for third reading. However, Justus, my brother, Honorable Justus, the 50% is only to hold fort for maybe a couple of months, a month or two, not to holistically plan. When you are getting money, you pay the salaries first, you pay what is very urgent first, and then you start the recurrent, emergency recurrent, not other recurrent, not petrol bills and travel and whatever. And one thing COVID has helped us is there's no travel. So I think this is the sort of thing that we can do. And I think it's very important. And I've been a mayor. Hamisi has been there. I think you were councillor, if I'm not wrong. But situation is we must do this, that they must form taxation collection system by the Kenya Revenue Authority. They can put up a new unit, let them collect, and let it be put in accounts. Right now, even in Kakamega, all the money that comes from Mboga, there I'm telling you, not even 10%. Even 10% is not even accounted for, and that's a fact. And these are the poor people who are being done, and they are buying huge things like wheelbarrows and whatever else. So I think we must be very careful.
All right,
But
let me
one other
go.
thing I do want to issue, I want to bring out. Sorry, my brother, just one other thing.
Yeah.
The governors and the council of government are not genuine. They are not really genuine for the people. They are looking at it for themselves. The other day, I've heard them now saying that they are now saying that the senators have been holding them at ransom, and they've been meeting at certain hotels, and they've been coerced by senators before they are called in for to the Senate for interrogation. What this is something is not new. We heard about this 6-8 months ago. When you're part and parcel of giving. Now that you're saying that you gave something to somebody, and 6 months ago you never, that is also a criminal act. Giving and receiving is both criminal. Now you're coming out and saying, "Oh, we were giving." Yes, I think it's I've had my say.
Let me bring in Hamisi on this. At a time when we're talking about amending the 2010 Constitution, relooking at a few things here and there, are there areas around, the infrastructure of dividing money amongst the counties? Is there something that we can do around that front, Hamisi?
Thank you very much. I think this is another issue that is coming, and now I think it's timely. Some of us thinking aloud and reading through the lines, we're saying if the counties can be given money to go on, and in a matter of 1 month or two, the BBI is out, everybody should scrutinize that BBI. Is it addressing some of these issues like the revenue sharing formula? Are they thinking about changing that clause which says at least 15%, and you say, why don't we give counties so much based on facts and figures? And that would really fit for 35 to 40% to 45% going to the counties, so that they are able to do whatever they want to do. So that they should be also given a condition. The more money you give counties, the more gates you're opening for contracting and subcontracting and not addressing the real issues. But then they should also be given that amount of money, and the Constitution should be so clear that this amount of money distributed equitably. We are forgetting about the Constitution says equitable distribution of the funds, national funds to the counties. So that concept of what is equitable will bring again this issue of the formula that we shall use. But I think we need to revisit the sharing of revenue between national government and county government based on the experience we have had now. The members of parliament have seen it, senators have seen it, we have seen it. So why don't we sit down and say, okay, let's find the best way forward. Like Mheshimiwa Kizito said, you see, when you have more children, then you need to work even harder to feed them. And if you get an amount of food, you must give them. It's true. And we need also to think, while your children are feeding, the next door children, they may be too, but are they also getting an equitable, we're talking about equitable share, so that they can also prosper. So all these are technical issues and must be discussed. But I think time has come when we unlock these financial issues so that the counties can go on. And then those institutions, like what Mheshimiwa Shabir said, that are charged with responsibilities of suggesting the formula for sharing, oversighting the process, and the national parliament must all be alert that actually something went wrong and it can derail the whole country. Right now, the pandemic, we have only one pandemic, but we never know. God willing, we should be prepared for any other pandemic. Are we now thinking on those lines? The sharing amount that we are giving to health,
yep,
is it going to be equitable in the future? So these are the issues that are coming. But first things first, why don't we unlock this process and then prepare a team in and outside Parliament? We are out, but we can give suggestions so that the members of Parliament look at it. And I agree with Kizito. The Parliament will only discuss what has been brought to them in terms of suggestions. They have the role of making the decisions. And this is the time that they should say, okay, we put politics aside, let's give these counties some money, they operate, and we move on. But then Shabir said something about collection. The capacity of our revenue, local revenue. One time when I was in the local authority, we suggested that we didn't have capacity to take everybody to court. For example, when I was in Mombasa, I sent a notice to all rate defaulters. And then some of the rate defaulters were so big in those days that I received a lot of threats.
Okay.
Because local authority cannot take them to, why don't we have somebody who has muscles to collect all the money and give it to the county?
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your contribution this far, but we'd like to take a break, and we will return with this conversation after these messages.